Hey everyone, it's Wowman. I hope you are doing well. And so a little back, we ended up covering a series called Valle Verde, which focused on a character we called PD, which represented the person playing the game. The game had this very Animal Crossing aesthetic, with the game beginning with the player moving into a new town called Valle Verde. There they would move into a new home, make new friends, and contribute to the community. There was even this Tom Nook-like character named Foxo that ended up bestowing a massive amount of debt onto you like any good landlord. However, what was strange about this game is that it wasn't released anywhere in the world. In fact, what we were seeing is recorded gameplay from a VHS. A VHS that was found by Illuvium when they were exploring a wooded area nearby where they lived. Venturing into this small opening in the forest, they would find a statue of a woman, and out of sheer curiosity, he decided to see if there was anything buried underneath it. And there was. A metal box containing a single tape. The entire YouTube channel has been dedicated to posting the recordings that were found on this tape, footage of a game called Valle Verde, or Green Valley. The game appears to have been released back in the mid-90s, as the gameplay is from the PlayStation 1, which released back in 1994. And within these tapes, they would be nothing short of disturbing, because what starts as an innocent, cozy game slowly shifts into one of nightmare fuel. Because the deeper into the game we get, the more we discover the dark truth of what happened here. So in the last video we did covering this series, which you should definitely check out, as this video is a continuation of that video. We found out that there were trapped children within the game, some of them fighting to stay alive, while others were losing the battle. There's also a secret society operated within the game of Valle Verde that is being led by Foxo and his two right hands, Dr. Neow and Aito. And because it has been a while since that video, I think that went up in like May, I'll kind of be recapping as we go, so you won't feel too lost. I know it's been a while for me. I had to like reread the entire script I made for that last video, so you should be fine, don't worry. The game also has a lot of heavy themes of Christianity within it. For example, there was this entire segment where a father gives a sermon to an empty church, as well as this part where you are forced to eat human flesh, which ends up getting you banished from the gates of heaven and sends you to hell. And there you would find fellow lost souls who also partook in the forbidden fruit. And perhaps the most ominous thing about this game was this game over screen telling you to turn off the console on March 22nd. However, as to what would happen on this forbidden date is unknown, but it is something that is revealed in this third part of the series. But yeah, I am pretty excited to dive into this third installment, as Illuvium is a very talented creator, and honestly creating this entire fictional PlayStation 1 video game analog horror series is just extremely impressive, and the art style is awesome, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as well as liking the video and commenting bruh as usual. Look at all these cool people that did that last time, so yeah, do it. And yeah, let's get into it. The video begins and we are back into the world of Valle Verde. The date is March 16th, 1997, only 6 days away from the forbidden date that the game should not be played on, as mentioned in the last video. The player walks through the town and ends up going inside of the robotics shop. Inside they find Dr. Neow, which is one of the members of the secret society controlled by Foxo. The conversation goes as follows. "Oh, here again? Have you come back to lose again? I'm ready for a fight. My Isaac is up to any challenge. Let the battle begin." The gameplay that follows is a Street Fighter-esque minigame where you're supposed to battle Dr. Nitau's robot. However, the gameplay is very flawed and the robot glitches in and out of the screen. And even if you do attempt to attack the robot, it ends up just leading you to an instant game over. Dr. Nitau taunting you after your inevitable loss. 3 days later, it's now March 19th, 3 days before you're not supposed to play the game. The player opens up the menu and a list of fast travel locations are displayed. The character ends up selecting Alamo and is transported into this strange space featured in the last video, a place in between. But in the distance, there is something watching you. The father from the last video appears in front of you telling you to use your compass, but when you select it from your inventory, it's a beaded rosary which shines when you activate it, and once the player uses it, this happens. The creature is destroyed by the use of the rosary, to which two paths are revealed. However, PD, the player, chooses neither and ends up wandering around this ocean of purple. Following the path by the shore leads to a new location, one that is incredibly eerie as there are traces of the recently deceased scattered all over the place, and they all appear to have been stepped on. Looking around further, there are people that appear to be mining this stone or crystal-like object. But what's strange about these characters is that they're modeled in a completely different art style than that of the rest of the game. They're slimmer, they don't have any cutesy features, and they have this much more realistic depiction of what a human being should look like. Not to mention that the characters are in 8-bit as well. PD ends up going into one of the doors used by the characters and finds an entire civilization of them, all of them choosing to worship a different idol. There are those who worship time, what appears to be a totem, a dark figure, the Eiffel Tower, a human god, and a dark tower emitting a purple light from behind it. The entire encampment is incredibly strange. But from the distance, a large entity transforms itself to the size of the player to introduce themselves. Morfelius Oraculum. The leader asks who you are, which the player simply denies to answer, instead asking who they are. After a bit of back and forth, the leader tells you that this is their workshop where they practice their magic, that this is the place where dreams become tangible, and each chisel stroke is a breath of life, waiting for its moment in history. Morfelius' words are incredibly cryptid, as when they're asked a simple question, like if he keeps data of people inside of here, his responses are almost like riddles. No, the data, like marble, eagerly awaits my touch. And what Morfelius ends up showing you is the ability they possess to control the people and make them build whatever he wants, which includes the shrines that surround the encampment. The player then asks for an example of what they do, to which Morfelius agrees to show the player. What he shows the player is one of the shrines, but looking at the figure closer, it reveals a vision. Inside of this vision, we are brought into the real world, where a creature made from the harvested crystals devours the planet. This is Morfelius' plan, to have his captives harvest enough crystals to make this vision a reality. Petey ends up leaving the encampment and finds himself in this dark place where he finds an angel trapped behind bars. However, on his way to free the individual, a character is spotted hung from the trees, and it seems like they're still alive. Petey stares at the angel once again and decides not to free it, and instead approaches the lake. But a few days later, the date finally arrives, and the game is turned on. Petey finds the town in ruins, and what's even creepier is that every single inhabitant of this town is standing in a circle, all of them wearing a mask to conceal their identity. The person standing at the center is none other than Foxo and his two companions. Brother Ito, assist me. What is the primary function of knowledge? To break free from the chains of ignorance so that we can attain the coming enlightenment. Brother Neow, assist me. What is the primary function of progress? To guarantee freedom, equality, and fraternity to all the people of the world. Enlighten us. What is the primary function of leadership? To lead the blind to a prosperous world, brethren. Progress is God. Progress is God. Progress is God. Let the ceremony begin, Brother Ito. Assist us. And what follows is this extremely disturbing segment where a deity is summoned into the land of Valle Verde. Foxo tells the deity that despite their efforts, there has been a minor setback to their plan. The women you've provided us fail to uphold their duties. We humbly request a little more time. And within the crate, we can see the bodies of two people stuffed away. And to make up for their lack of progress, Foxo is prepared to give the deity another offering, which is Dr. Netow's robot, the same one you battled earlier in the game. Foxo then follows up by saying that the next great offering will be next ceremony, and that this is just the beginning. We're then shown the deity consuming Dr. Netow's robot, but there is something wrong, as Dr. Neow is offended by where the robot was sent. It was sent to the fourth pillar. And it seems like according to this deity, each sacrifice is ranked on a scale of the 4 pillars, rankings that are pretty much evaluating the quality of the sacrifice. The first pillar being the best possible sacrifice, and the fourth is the worst. And so when Dr. Netow's robot is sent to the 4th pillar, he takes offense to this, as this is his prized achievement, a sentient robot. But arguing with the deity on the placement of the sacrifice only enrages it. And Dr. Neow is shown to never disrespect the deity ever again, resulting in this incredibly disturbing segment. And perhaps the most disturbing part of this entire scene is that Dr. Neow is still alive even after his flesh has been burned off. The game returns back to normal, but the moans of Dr. Neow can still be heard in the background. He's been placed in the center of town to serve as an example to the people of Valle Verde if they ever step out of line. The tape then glitches and we're shown this completely different game that appears to be a knockoff version of the early Pac-Man games. But the game is paused and the person playing decides to play something else from this library of games. And just from the looks of it, it seems to be one of those old PlayStation discs that you could buy from like the flea market, and it would have like 100 games on it, all of them being pirated, obviously. I never partook in that, although I wish I did. It is something that I kind of do now though. Like I have Pokemon on my Vita, which is not something that should be on there. The game that the person selects is called Hexacom. It seems to be this sci-fi game where the main objective is to bring peace to other planets. And the planet you end up landing on is none other than Valle Verde. There's this warning as well that states, your the brain device is experiencing severe corruptions that could result in game-breaking malfunctions. This may be a result to poor connectivity. Try turning off the console, disabling learning mode, and attempting to restart the game. So it does seem like this game, as well as Valle Verde, is being played on something called the brain device, which is being used to, I'm assuming, to pirate these games to play them. However, the device is malfunctioning, which has led to all of these glitches, including the game taking place in the world of Valle Verde. Returning to the game, the player tries to enter the vaulted door, but instead it clips through the ground. There they find villagers of the town, alive and dead, trapped down here. The Hexacom character takes a look around and sees a sign which says Midas, and from past the column lies this creature. The creature is a giant face with an eyeball inside of its throat and what appears to be a tentacle coming out of it. And what's really unsettling is that resting on one of the columns is another iteration of this game's character, one that lost the battle against this beast. Upon looking around, Dr. Neow's robot can also be seen, meaning that this place is in column 4. But before the player has a chance to attack the entity, they are attacked by this wild animal and someone shooting just out of frame. When the player tries to respawn, they're left in an infinite glitch loop until they fall into a void once again. The tape ends up switching back to the world of Valle Verde, where we can see the biblically accurate angel from the last video flying above the church. The townsfolk surrounding the area in preparation for its arrival. Foxo tells you, the old structure is barely holding on. It's a true hazard to all of us. Perhaps some supports will help it survive the passage of time. Could you install these on the inside of the church? The player agrees and they enter the church to install the supports. but what they really are the pillars used by the deity, and placing them has summoned something inside. And I'm not even joking, this next part scared like the absolute bejesus out of me. Like, it's not even that scary, but I don't know, it like freaked me out really bad. Like, I looked away and then I looked back and this was happening. Yeah, you'll see.
John Paul had won the hearts of Catholics and non-Catholics throughout the world, during one of the shortest reigns in papal history. Hailed as a pope of the people, John Paul's death was as dramatic and unexpected as his election 33 days earlier. 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 33 days earlier.
Because as the audio recording detailing the death of the Pope is playing, these dark entities begin to roam the inside of the church. The player exits the church and we can see the villagers have suffered the same fate as Dr. Neow and are now being forced to create a new structure. The player tries to take a look at the entities, but they pay him little attention and continue with their work. And it does seem like they're building a new church, one with a crucifix on top. And walking around a bit further, the father can be seen, this time with an entirely new wardrobe. He's wearing a crown of gold, wielding a gold scepter, and holding the Sacred Heart, which in Christianity, the Sacred Heart is a symbol of Jesus' sacrificial love for humanity. The crown of thorns and the wounds in the heart represent the manner of Christ's passion and suffering. The crown of thorns also serves as a reminder that the one crown humanity gave to Jesus was a crown of pain. Pietro telling you, quote, "Even though it was filled with unclean beasts and unholy smells, the ark was able to carry 8 people to salvation. The truth still lies firm here upon the rock for all those who seek it, even though those who covet the wisdom of the great architect can't stand the humbleness of a simple carpenter. This tribulation too shall pass." The world of Valle Verde continues to inflict a sense of horror within viewers as we venture through a corrupted world inhabited by various dark presences. A cult which includes the entire town, with the leader Foxo serving a hungry deity that will not tolerate misbehavior, with the ultimate end goal to break free from the game and consume the rest of the world. But not yet. This will come in time. And I mean, yeah, that pretty much does it. If you made it this far, be sure to comment Joe Mama. And yeah, I do want to give a huge thank you to all of my beautiful channel members, as well as my ultimate tiers, Kareem Ariano and Alejandro from the Tower. If you want early access to videos, as well as your name right here, it's only $1.99. And yeah, hopefully you can get some sleep tonight. If not, I'm so sorry. Love ya. Bye.